Alright guys, tons to get into today. The big beautiful bill has been passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives. It is on its way to the president's desk now. It will probably have already been there by the time you hear this. The Supreme Court has given President Trump the all-clear to cut down on birthright citizenship, at least in 28 states. They've also declared that Tennessee is not violating any law by forbidding minors from getting transgender surgery. The New Republic magazine says that this is, quote, a disastrous moment for the American constitutional order. But this is coming from the same people who told me that turtles, as a species, are dying out, so I should be careful about reading books like Yertle the Turtle to my kids because it could traumatize them. So who's the real disaster here? Also, against all odds, the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Iran seems to be holding, but tensions remain high, and there's still a lot of work for Trump to do in the Middle East. Also, assuming I'm able to release this episode on time, it's the 4th of July. You know what that means. Happy birthday, USA!
Oh, say.
I'm usually not a fan of metal music, but in this case, I'm gonna make an exception. It was the greatest cover of our national anthem in the history of our country. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. It's common sense. I'm Luke Garnett, and this is The Logo Show. The biggest bit of breaking news we have right now is, of course, the big, beautiful bill. It has passed the Senate 51 votes to 50, with J.D. Vance being the tie-breaking vote. The bill, also known as the OB3 Act, just needs to go back to the House now. It will have probably already happened by the time you hear this, and there's nothing the Democrats can do about it. They have fought against this bill with every ounce of their strength, but ultimately, they couldn't stop it. Before I talk about my thoughts on the bill, I want to go and see what the people on Blue Sky Social have to say about it. Let's see, Trump's a dictator, it's gonna devastate the lives of millions, we're all gonna die, usual garbage. Oh wait, this one is actually pretty funny. Quote, big beautiful bill would be a good name for an 80s wrestler. You're right, it would be perfect. And in the right corner we have Big Beautiful Bill! So a lot of people from both sides of the aisle are confused about what exactly the OB3 does. It has changed quite a lot over its time in Congress. I won't pretend that I have perfect knowledge of what it contains either. To be honest, I haven't really been paying that much attention to its progress. I tend to focus more on things like foreign policy and the woke mob and less on economics, but I'll do my best. If you have any questions, I highly recommend you do some research of your own. And make sure you check the dates, because this bill has been changed a lot. To summarize what I found on CBS, the Daily Wire, and the official White House website, the OB3 is going to extend the deadline for Trump's tax cuts, so taxes would have originally risen to pre-Trump levels after 2025. That's no longer going to happen. It's going to get rid of taxes on tips and overtime, unless you make, like, an absurd amount of money off of tips, in which case you still have to pay a little, but mostly, it's no taxes on tips. The OB3 is going to allow the federal government to defund sanctuary cities that shield illegal immigrants from ICE. So that's cities like Los Angeles that are going to lose a lot of federal funding. It's going to cut massive amounts of funding for a bunch of gender transition programs, as well as the organ farm Planned Parenthood. And if you want proof that it is indeed an organ farm, here's a clip of somebody talking to the Planned Parenthood Senior Director of Medical Services, Dr. Deborah Nucatola. It is very unnerving, even though it's just audio, so listener discretion is advised.
We need liver, and we prefer, an actual liver, not a, bunch of shredded up, or especially brain is where it's actually really a big issue. Hemispheres need to be intact. It's a big deal with neural tissue and the progenitors, because those are particularly fragile.
We're very good at getting parts on liver because we know that. So I'm not going to crush that part. I'm going to basically crush below. I'm going to crush above, and I'm going to see if I can get it out intact.
And here is a clip of one of Planned Parenthood's business partners testifying under oath.
How does a tissue procurement occur in one of these situations when the entire fetus is intact in the lab?
We do dissection.
And just to be clear, you do dissection to obtain the tissues that are on the list for the day?
We do dissection to get the tissues that the researchers have requested, yeah.
And do you mean that they did not have a heartbeat?
It would depend.
Okay. And when you say it would depend, what do you mean?
I can see hearts that are not in an intact POC that are beating independently.
Remember that one time you had to send some of your money over to the IRS? This is where that money ended up. So yeah, that's not going to be happening anymore. This is just a few of the many things that the big beautiful bill does, and I personally cannot wait to see it go into effect. Elon Musk isn't too happy though. I thought he and Trump had gotten back together again, but apparently I was wrong. He recently tweeted, quote, "It is obvious with the insane spending of this bill, which increases the debt ceiling by a record $5 trillion, that we live in a one-party country, the Porky Pig Party. Time for a new political party that actually cares about the people." Understandable, this bill does do a lot of damage to the electric car industry, and the debt ceiling is going to go up. But I don't think we have any other option here. We're in a period of national emergency, millions of illegal immigrants are still in the country, and the Democratic Party is doing everything they can to destroy America from the inside. We gotta do something. If it means spending more money, just do it. You might have noticed that Elon said something about forming a new political party, and yes, it is something he is considering. Here's another tweet. Quote, "If this insane spending bill passes, the America Party will be formed the next day. Our country needs an alternative to the Democrat-Republican Uniparty so that the people actually have a voice." I'm sorry, I don't think that's gonna work out. Yes, I know there are a lot of people who are torn between red and blue right now, and I'm sure they would be happy to have a third option. But, I'm sorry, third parties just never work out. Nobody pays attention to them. You might have heard of the Green Party or the Libertarian Party, but at this point, the Republicans and Democrats, they're just too big. Like, they have taken up the entire thing. And hey, the Democrats are losing support fast. Who knows, maybe we will see another party rise. A few months ago, I would have told you that I would have been interested in seeing an independent candidate get more recognition, but every independent identifying person I've seen online seems to be left-leaning. Ironic, but who knows what the future holds? It certainly isn't looking good for the Democrats, especially the ones in Congress. According to a poll that CNN released about a month ago, let me just play the clip.
This is how Americans sort of see the parties. Which party is better described as the party with strong leaders? Look at this.
Wow.
16% of Americans say Democrats, 40% say that of the Republican Party. Now, overall, no party's doing great. Lots of Americans say neither of these qualities apply to either party. But look at how much worse off the Democrats are. A party that gets things done. Only 19% of Americans say that about the Democrats. 36% say it about the Republicans. In fact, the only place that the Democrats are numerically ahead, party of the middle class, this is basically a tie, though.
Yeah.
34% say that of Democrats, 32% say that of Republicans. But this, I think, is the most fascinating. How do partisans talk about their own party? Right? So among Democrats and Democratic leaners, 32% say Democrats are the party with strong leaders. I mean, of their own kind, right? 82% of Republican and Republican leaders say that about the GOP. Only 41% of Democrats say they're the party that gets things done of their own kind. And I will just say, 51%, Manu, a majority of Democratic and Democratic leaners say neither party gets the party that gets things done attribute.
This poll was conducted before the Democrat senators failed to stop Trump's most important piece of legislation from passing the Senate, and before they, once again, tried and failed to impeach Trump. Here's a clip of a liberal reacting to that from Libs of TikTok.
128 Democrats voted no not to impeach Donald Trump today, June 24th, Tuesday. 128 Democrats will be losing their jobs come 2026. Because guess what? You don't get to be MAGA in blue. You work for us. It didn't matter that it was never going to pass.
Wait, what is fat pass?
Your answer should have never been no. Ever. If it came up for a vote, you raise your hand.
Now, obviously, this one crazy woman's opinion doesn't represent that of the entire Democratic Party. I think it's safe to say that this is what most people on the left are thinking. I've said it on the show before, and I'll say it again. The Democrats do not know what to do. No matter what they try, they just keep failing. I can't decide if they're following some stupid strategy that they came up with ahead of time, or if they're just making it up as they go. They certainly didn't plan on Trump having this many victories in such a short amount of time, so I'm guessing it's the latter. Speaking of Trump victories, we've also got a lot of them in terms of decisions made by the Supreme Court. In recent weeks, the court has upheld Tennessee's ban on transgender surgery for minors, and while we're on the subject, I just want to bring up something that came to my mind the other day. I think this is really important. You know what the left calls a man who transitions to a woman? They don't call him a woman. They call him a trans woman. But under their own rules, trans women are women, so why don't you call him a woman? Woman seems to be a pretty big umbrella term for you, but you guys only use it to describe people who are born female. You guys use the terms woman and trans woman differently because even you can tell the difference between them. Just something to think about. The court has also declared that federal district judges can't stop Trump from getting rid of birthright citizenship, at least on a national scale. So starting after July 27th, any child born to undocumented immigrants in the U.S. will lose their citizenship, unless they're in one of the 22 states where judges have blocked the order. And this just in, according to CNN, quote, the Supreme Court on Thursday agreed to decide whether states may ban transgender students from playing on sports teams that align with their gender identity, revisiting the issues of LGBTQ rights in a blockbuster case just days after upholding a ban on some health care for trans youth. What can I say? Team Trump is unstoppable. I do think his approval ratings are going to drop after the bill is signed because, like I said, a lot of Republicans are worried about it, and I acknowledge that this bill is not perfect. It is going to add to the debt ceiling, but if our goal is to make America great again, I think our first priority is getting this bill signed into law because this undoes a lot of the damage the Biden administration did. Before I go, here's a quick update on the situation in the Middle East. After a shaky start, the ceasefire between Iran and Israel seems to be holding. According to Grok's research, there have been no reported violations of it since June 24th. According to the Associated Press, Trump is also working on cutting a deal between Israel and Hamas. Quote, Hamas and Israel staked out their positions Wednesday ahead of expected talks on a Washington-backed ceasefire proposal, with the militant group suggesting it was open to an agreement, while the Israeli Prime Minister vowed that there will be no Hamas in post-war Gaza. Both sides stopped short of accepting the proposal announced Tuesday by U.S. President Donald Trump. Hamas insisted on its long-standing position that any deal bring an end to the war in Gaza. Trump said Israel has agreed on terms for a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza and urged Hamas to accept the deal before the conditions worsen. As of this recording, Hamas has yet to respond to the current draft of the ceasefire, but based on this article, things are looking pretty good. I know Hamas cannot be trusted in any way at all, but I will admit I was doubtful that Trump would be able to resolve the Iran-Israel war as easily as he did. Who knows, maybe Trump will surprise me again and we will actually have something close to peace in the Middle East. I'd say if anybody can do it, it's Trump. Alright, that's all I got right now. Follow me on X for more updates, and have a happy 4th of July. The Low Grade Show is a Low Grade Studios original podcast available on both Spotify and YouTube. If you want to check out more of my stuff, you can do so by going to lowgradestudios.com. That's LOGRAY studios.com. There, you will be greeted with links to all of my other social media sites, so while you wait for the next episode of this podcast to come out, you can check out some of my other stuff. And as I say at the end of every episode, it might be a long time before you hear from me again, because my upload schedule for this podcast is very erratic. The next episode could come out in a month, maybe 2 months, I have no idea, but I'll try to upload as soon as possible, because like I said, so many things are happening. I'll try to keep you all updated on X. Like I said, the link is in the description. My name is Luke Garnett. Stay informed and always check your sources.